Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, a.k.a. PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast. This is the podcast where we had digital discussions, the worlds of social media, sports, pop culture, everything, and hockey. And we haven't had a hockey panel in a long time, so we have one today. I'm speaking to three players that play in for separate teams, separate leagues, but they're all friends that grew up together as friends when they were younger. So I'm quickly going to have them introduce themselves, and we'll get into it, starting with Zach.
Hey, I'm Zach Senyshyn. I'm from Nepean, Ontario, and I'm currently playing for the Providence Bruins in the AHL.
Very cool. Branden?
My name is Branden Makara. I grew up in Gloucester, Ontario. I'm currently playing for Colorado College in the NCHC.
Very cool.
Hey, I'm Quinn Wichers from Medcalf, Ontario. I'm currently playing for the Mercyhurst Lakers in Atlantic Hockey, NCAA.
Very cool. Well, all three of you guys, thank you guys for joining me on the show. Really appreciate it. First off, a little bit of an icebreaker. We'll start with Zach. We all know a lot of hockey players, they fall in love with the sport right away. As soon as they start playing, they want to do it for the rest of their lives. But was there a kind of point in time where you took it more seriously? Whether it was like Adam Pee-wee, was there a time, what was kind of like the peak where you're like, hey, this is what I want to do?
Well, as a kind of a young kid, I came from not really a hockey background. No one really in my family had played hockey before, and so it was kind of a new thing. I was playing football and hockey at the same time, and then I just got to that age where I had to decide whether I wanted to play football and kind of follow what my dad did and played college ball there. But I decided to play hockey and kind of devote my time to my true passion, which was hockey.
Very cool. Branden, what about you?
Yeah, I think I started focusing a lot of my time and energy into hockey, when I reached the junior level in the draft years. So when 15, 16, you get drafted to the Central League and then simultaneously get drafted to the OHL. So I think around that time, that's when I started devoting a lot more time and energy to hockey and really focusing on it and trying to, pursue a passion and get something out of it there.
Mm-hmm. And Quinn, what about you?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of along the same lines as Branden, but for me, I've kind of grown up in a big hockey family, so it's always kind of been a really big part of my life. So I think my whole life it's pretty much what it's all been devoted to. So yeah.
You're all playing for different teams, but the journey is the same to kind of get to the next level, get bigger and stronger every year. Zach, what were kind of some of the things that you worked on specifically this year to get to the next level for yourself?
I really just kind of had to work on my details and had to work on, again, my defensive side of the puck and really rounding out my game. I've always been kind of known as an offensive guy, but you can't just be one or the other once you make it up in the AHL. And I really had to work on my game all around, and that's kind of what I focused on this year.
Mm-hmm. And Brad, what about you? It was your second year playing for Colorado, I believe.
Yeah.
So talk about like kind of the differences between the first year and the second year, because going from CCHL and going to play there, the first year must have been completely different, but you were able to kind of get used to it a little bit more in your second year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a change every time you change leagues and move up in the hockey world. There's adjustments and certain details that you have to change in your game. I think you learn every game and every day when you're out there playing, and obviously as time goes by, you become a bit more comfortable with how stuff works. So, it would kind of be in the same ballpark as Zach said. Just got to focus on details and, put work and time that you have, the spare time you have, and continue to excel and gain from more and more experience.
And Quinn, for yourself, as a defenseman, the typical, getting bigger, like faster, stronger, but were there some specific elements to your game that you wanted to work on?
Yeah, I think for me personally, it was just kind of as a big guy, I like to try and be as quick out on the ice as I can and be as mobile as possible. So I think I really try and hone in on my skating, and also I try and really focus on like my offensive skills and stuff like that. So after practice, I always try and focus in on a few things every day and just try and get better at those offensive things too.
The game is evolving every every year. It feels like every, second the game is evolving. The skill that's coming from different leagues is unbelievable. What have you all noticed in terms of the biggest skill development? I mean, is it becoming just more of a fast game? Is it becoming just a bigger game? Is it becoming a smarter game? Like, is there anything specific that you've kind of noticed, once you were going from, playing junior and playing NCAA, or for Zach playing pro? Like, Zach, was there anything specific you noticed once you made that jump to Providence in the AHL?
Yeah, just the game's a lot faster, and I think that's the way that the game is really moving right now. It's working to a lot of speed and a lot of quick transitions and a lot of quick strikes, and it's just about kind of getting up the ice as quick as possible and making those simple plays. But I think definitely the speed is what I noticed most about my jump. You don't really have a lot of time with the puck.
Quinn, what about you? Anything you've noticed?
Yeah, I thought it's along the same lines as Zach too. It's just it's a very quick game, and I think the big difference coming from junior to NCAA was that everyone there has skill and everyone can make plays in tight areas. It's just you have to be able to kind of separate yourself in some aspect of the game, and everyone's so good. You just kind of have to keep trying to improve in all the little details of the game.
And Branden, were there elements from the NCAA game that really surprised you? Was it a lot faster than you thought it was going to be? Was it a lot bigger than you thought it was going to be? Was there anything specific once you laced the skates up for the first game?
I think it was just the caliber of play from each and every individual in the NCAA and the league. Like, you won't find a player who doesn't know what they're doing. I mean, every game people are making decisions quicker and quicker and are learning from their past game and using what they learned to be a better player, and that's what I noticed right away is you won't find a player who can't make a play. So it's tough.
No, absolutely. And we'll go back to Branden for this one. We'll go around. What have all of you have had the opportunity to have had amazing moments in your career thus far, and for all three of you, it's just getting started. But you've all had an opportunity to play in some big games, some key moments. Branden, what has been kind of one of the coolest, most memorable moments of your hockey career thus far?
Well, I think even just playing college hockey and having the opportunity to do that is amazing as a Canadian. And I think biggest game so far is just, playing our team rivals, where those games are, they're much bigger than just the 60-minute games. Our alumni are watching and people are noticing those matches. The fans especially. So I think like playing in our rival games, us it's Denver. Mm-hmm. Those are memorable games that you'll just remember forever.
And Quinn, what about you? Because you were able to represent Canada at the World Junior A Challenge. I mean, is that one of the events that kind of stands out for you, or is there anything else?
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely say the gold medal game playing against Team USA was probably one of the most memorable games I've ever had. The crowd was insane there, and it was just such a cool experience to be able to represent your country. So I would definitely say that was probably up there for one of the best games I've ever been part of.
And Zach, I think we know, what might be first on your list. Maybe getting drafted in the first round by the Boston Bruins. But has there been anything besides that, in camp or like kind of getting your first kind of taste of it in like training camp? Is there anything specific that's happened that's been pretty memorable for yourself?
Yeah, I definitely think that playing my first NHL exhibition game was really, really cool. And I got to play in front of the TD Garden, and again, just the fans in Boston are unbelievable, and it was a really cool experience to be able to throw on that Spoke B and to be able to represent the Bruins. It's an honor, and that was probably one of the coolest moments.
I want to get to know you guys a little bit more. I want to know who you guys are on the ice and off the ice. So, Zach, who is Zach Senyshyn on the ice, and who is Zach Senyshyn off the ice?
On the ice, I consider myself to be a little bit of a power forward, but mostly a goal scorer. I play with a lot of speed, and that's kind of what my staple is in my game. And off the ice, I'd like to have a good time with my buddies and like to go up to Quinner's cottage and and yeah, we have a great time in the summer. It's hard to be away from the boys during the season, and it's definitely a treat to be back and to be able to spend that quality time with my friends and family.
No, for sure. Quinn, what about you? Who is Quinn Wichers on the ice, and who is Quinn Wichers off the ice?
On the ice, I would say I'm kind of a shutdown defenseman, but I think I kind of have some offensive aspects to my game too, which is what I've been trying to work on a lot too. So, and then off the ice, I'd say I'm pretty much the same. Just try to be just a nice guy and just love to hang out with my buddies, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Branden, what about you? Who are you on the ice? Who are you off the ice? A lot of smiles going on.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, we don't talk about ourselves like that anymore, I guess. Just interesting, I guess. Yeah, on the ice, I would consider myself, fast-paced player and decision making and just trying to make an impact in the offensive end and hopefully just keep my details tight in the defensive end as a player. On the ice, off the ice, like Zach said, I like to have a good time, and I like to spend time with friends and family, and nothing too exciting going around me off the ice, but I like to go golfing every so often with the guys and just hang out during the summers when we get to see each other because we're away from each other all season. So
when I ask that question, the three biggest cliche answers I get, just for the record, from hockey players is, I like to listen to country music. I like to fish. I like to go to the cottage. You all love your cottages.
Oh, yeah. Cottage is the best. That's where I'm at right now, actually.
No, absolutely. And a little bit of behind the scenes, Branden was giving you a hard time about your background before. You had to switch places.
Yeah. Doesn't like the scenic background, I guess.
Couple of things a couple more roundtable questions before we wrap up. There's a lot of misconceptions out there about hockey players, and I know, you look at a lot of people on social media and they have their opinions, and they're allowed to have their opinions, but sometimes it's just, they all think, they're, armchair GMs, quote, so to speak. But I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions about hockey players. I feel like there's a lot of things that people assume about hockey players, and it's completely wrong. So I just wanted to know from your perspective. I mean, some of the past answers from this question we've got, guys, was like, misconception is it's hockey all the time. We don't have a life outside of hockey. Biggest misconception is not a lot of people know that, we're full-time students playing hockey. And then we've had more like goofy answers, like Keenan Reynolds from Carlson Place Canadians would say, like, the biggest misconception is people think we spend a lot of time on our hair. It's just naturally looking good. So, God. Yeah, he definitely said that. So yeah, Zach, what are some of the misconceptions maybe that you think hockey players get?
One of the common that people too, and with social media and that kind of stuff, it just makes it really hard to for young kids to kind of deal with that external noise.
Mm-hmm. Brian, what about you? What are some of the misconceptions? Were there things that you kind of expected from NCAA that were completely different than what you thought they were going to be?
No, to be honest, I mean, NCAA is in the States, right? So I didn't really have any expectations at all. I mean, it was going to be all new for me coming in there anyways. But I mean, in terms of hockey players in general, I think that we're just regular dudes like everybody else, and we just, we play a sport and we practice it. We devote a lot of time to it, but at the end of the day, we're just regular guys, regular athletes that eat, sleep, and breathe the same air as everybody else. So
that's a very interesting way of putting it. How are you going to top that, Quinn?
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be tough to top, but yeah, I agree with Branden though. I think I guess the biggest misconception is that a lot of people see athletes in general as just people who play their sport and that's kind of it. But I think a lot of athletes have different ways that they either cope with stress or just relax. Like, for example, a lot of people I know, like even Branden, like plays the guitar or like do kind of things like that on their own and like have their own kind of skills other than their sport. And so I think they're a lot more well-rounded and just regular people than you would think.
Well, you mentioned guitar, so I got to ask, what are kind of some of the music that you guys listen to? I mean, is it just? I mean, are there specific artists that you listen to that are not part of like the normal, country and hip hop and rap? Is there any genre, Zach, that you listened to growing up that you really like that maybe people don't realize that you like? Any guilty pleasures?
I don't know. It's like now I'm into like Lumineers, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. like back in the day, if we're thinking like when I was a kid, like Avril Lavigne, she was good. She rocked my world. Yeah. Akon was pretty good, but those were some throwbacks.
Quinn, what about you? Is it just the typical country or?
Well, I'm the same as Zach now. I really like the Lumineers a lot too, but yeah, I'm kind of I'm a bit of everything. Like I love country, I love rap. It just kind of depends on my mood, I guess.
Branden, you say you play. They said you play guitar, so I'm hoping there's some rock music.
Oh my god, I dabble at most. Yeah, I mean, I say you can't go wrong with Nickelback. I mean,
you know what? I'm with you there. We're gonna get a lot of hate. I enjoy Nickelback. I've seen them in concert like 3 times.
Yeah, I wish I could see them if they came by anywhere close. But I mean,
why do people hate? Like, it's the same thing with like Kanye West. There's people that hate him. There's people that love him. I don't get that about the Nickelback thing.
People just choose a side. I imagine Nickelback. It's just I don't know where it stems from, but like obviously there was a wave of people who decided to dislike their music, and then people just started jumping on the wagon. So I mean, I'm not gonna jump on it. I'm gonna stick to what I like, and that's their music. So
I'm just gonna point out that I'm very surprised that Nickelback was the band that came out of your mouth.
The top answer.
It's great. No, it's great. I was surprised because there's so many people that are afraid to say that they like Nickelback because they'll get chirped, and I don't like that.
Yeah, no, I have no problem with it, and I'll jam out any time for sure.
Awesome. Well, guys, I think we'll wrap up. Before we do, I just want to go around the paddle quickly to give your closing remarks. Where can people follow you on social media? What are some of the things that you're looking forward to in the next couple of years? So, Zach, thanks for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity, and hopefully all goes well this upcoming season. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Where can people follow you on social media? What are the handles?
Just at Zach Senyshyn.
Perfect. Awesome. And Quinn, thanks a lot for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, you can just follow me on Twitter if you want at QWix4 and Instagram at just Quinn Wichers.
Perfect. And Branden, thanks a lot for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a lot of fun, and I know best of luck to everybody else in their seasons coming up, and to you with the podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at bmac97, and Instagram at bmakara18. And you won't see much action on there, but if you want, give it a follow.
Sure. Perfect, guys. Well, all the best with your upcoming seasons. Well, this has been Popternative. You can catch previous episodes, Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for the video episodes. If you don't want to see us and you want to just listen and take it on the road, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to podcasts, the podcast apps, we're there as well, Popternative. So be sure to subscribe, popternative.com for brand new content from the world of sports, social media, and pop culture as well. Until next time, this is Zach Senyshyn, Quinn Wichers, Branden Makara, and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.